y'all? It is me, Tasha C. And surprisingly, I'm actually reviewing this show, another limited series that's from Amazon Prime called I'm a Virgo. Um, it's gonna be hard. I wanted to review this show because it was interesting and whatever. And it's gonna be hard. I'm going my best to interpret the way I is, but that's why it's important if y'all can to watch it. It actually comes on Amazon Prime. All I think 7 or 8 episodes have already premiered. They run around 30 minutes. I'm going to do like one at a time, maybe one per week. Um, it's a surreal comedy. It's a lot, probably themes and stuff and theories that you can get from there. And it's basically about a giant, a young black man I like to call legalized teens. When you between age 18, 19, you are a legalized teen to me, I like to say. Um, and he's basically going out and exploring the world, so to speak. Some of the people you may know, like okay, Jarrell Jerome, which was known for like such films as and TV projects such as from Moonlight, and When They See Us. Mike Epps is Martise, and he's playing the uncle. Carmen Idris playing Frenchie Ortiz. Oh, I'm gonna slash some words. Well, this guy named that goes by Jill White or the hero. I don't know. I think it's the real world. I guess he's supposed to be the popo police or the high position. It's weird. Brett Gray as he's played, I think, and I still need to watch it on my block. And he's playing one of least for scene for one of Cootie's boys named Felix. Carol Young as Jones. I don't the character. Okay, well, it's also Scat Floor, but I know Felix is one of the main characters, and Scat I think is one of his boys as well. Also, surprisingly, Libby Washington, which is also Denzel. I can never get and Mrs. Washington, Denzel Washington, Mrs. Washington is one of their children, which is actually their twins. So I know I've been rambling, y'all, but like I said, this is an interesting show. It's surreal. They actually, it premiered yesterday on the 20. Oh, okay, it's about to be 23rd, about to be 25th because I'm bringing this to midnight. So now the beginning of this show, we already know special effects. Like I said, we have a 13 foot man. So we see a scene at the beginning at the hospital, and she's telling me, you see like hospital people around, but I think I don't know if they kidnapped the boy. I don't know what's going on. I'm wondering with these giants where with the baby was C-section or not, but she has the boy in the head. The baby ain't got no diaper on or nothing. This baby is at least really about the size of maybe a 6-year old or something, but it's newborn baby, with special effects. And she said your name gonna be Cootie. So her and her husband, which is Marcus Martise and Francine, I'm gonna call her Francine. Go to place and they show where the baby's growing up and they're dancing. And of course, like I said, he's bigger than them even as a baby and toddler. Like he's a giant. And eventually, they show him like when he's like 7, 8 years old, and he like what about 8 feet or something. Like I said, he's like I said, grown, big ass kid, literally a big ass kid. And his uncle says to him, like, don't touch your stuff. Like you bumping, knocking on walls. I keep preparing stuff. Don't touch the yellow paint. And they just say you're a big MF. Okay, I think that's the title of this episode. Usually, I don't look at the type of episodes, whatever. So we go into the scene, this next one, where they're also showing on the TV where they watch with him in the house that they're at. They're also keeping him hidden. They want to keep him from the world so he won't get attacked. They know he's a giant. Apparently, I don't know if it was the mother. I know the the father side. As far as like whose child this is. I think I mean the uncle Tease, it was his sister. I think I recall that. So here's the thing. So over time they give him, like, this comic. And it's this guy on here. I think he's like also the police. Like I say, y'all, it is you have to watch it for yourself because it's so surreal and there's so many things. Because the creator is Bruce Riley, who used to be a part of the rap group called the Coop, and I think they were the '90s. I remember, and he made kind of a surreal movie, which I still never have seen yet. That was called "Sorry to Bother You," which they turn out people that turn into uh, you know horses and all this other stuff. So I was not surprised that it was gonna be surreal or it's gonna be like, what the hell's going on? But you can't stop watching personally to me. Um, and so forth. So it seemed like the superhero that he's on, I don't know if it's a show, I don't know if it's an interview, but on TV, the guy's talking, and he got a pow pow to his head, right? And the woman was like, huh? And he's about to, like, as if he's about to pow pow himself and unalive himself. But he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that and to stop crime and all this other stuff. So it's like almost like a double, like, I don't know if he's supposed to be a bootleg ass Iron Man or something like that, but he's given this like this position of I am the hero. Yeah, that's also not just the hero, but I'm the hero because his last name is White, and it may be a connection where because he's Caucasian, or he says himself where he's a powerful class. And over time, now they show, of course, they fast forward to Cootie's age. He is 19 years old. He wants to go out in the world. He's actually, watching TV because that's the only thing they got. They tell him also, he reads like 10 hours a day. So even though he's never went to school or really had interaction, obviously, past his quote unquote parents, you know, um, he, like reads a lot. He exercises, probably, with a whole, with the whole car and stuff like that. And he's eventually really ready to see the world. They really want him to be like, they explain to him that they really want him to wait 2 more years. And he's ready to go see out the world. Sometimes he be peeking out the window, literally. But he really wants to experience, life, even down to they have this particular commercial, called the Bingo Burger. And this burger, I don't know if it's gonna be equivalent to like, Chick-fil-A, Five Guys with fries, Mickey D's or something. But they're trying to show and like show the programming, the saturation of how media runs, can run us, or we're respected to like how, be like I said, just implanted with what's expected of media or traditions and so forth. So he wants this burger. They get in there, got the burger, like the burger about, is up there. You want this burger. I'm like, does the burger need a cigarette the way they were having that burger? If you the way it was moving, like almost sexualizing the burger and making it seem like it will, it's juicy in your mouth. I'll leave it as that, okay? Because that's what it was giving me, okay? So he wants to try this the bingy burger, and his parents, it's like, no, we want. They end up giving, like a substitute later on, but they don't want him eating that poison. Okay, so it's obviously, I don't know. They never gave him any meat or anything because he was eating something, and but they're like, oh no, stay away from that. So they always have, I guess, like they have their hands together, heart to heart, arm to arm. You're going to face this article. I did not write this down. I'm just going to top of my head with this. Even if I wrote this down, this stuff is so surreal. Like I said, I keep warning y'all because y'all be like, what the hell is this shit that I'm watching? Okay. So, and he's trying to go throughout the kitchen. I wonder how the hell he got in there. Did he go from side to side? Did they use Crisco to get him in, slide him in there? So when he tried to, of course, go through the door, of course, he, being the John he is, and that door, they should have been fixed that, the entrance to the kitchen. He falls to the ground, and they actually end up building like like his own like mini like pool. It's not near a pool, but they have a big enough back space in the backyard that even though it's secluded, they were able to build him like, I don't know, a clubhouse, his own bedroom or something in the background. The back of the house. So he has his own space. It's a big enough bed. I mean, they're able to get him clothes and everything. And I'm just kind of wondering, as big as he is, it's just, I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but I'm like, they were able to make him clothes and I, do diapers and everything. I'm just saying, like I said, because he's a giant. But they still want him to really be by himself and whatever. They, the mom, Francie tries to give him this, this replica of the burger, and it looked like they had like two of the Texas toast sandwiches, whatever, and because they don't want to give him points. I don't know if the burger was like some type of veggie patty or something, but like I said again, the uncle explains, like we want to keep you away from poison. We don't eat that poison or nothing like that, whatever, right? And it show also like the effects when he watched TV. He has like this, this information, see stuff that says, from what he was also told and given. There's also a scene which shows where his auntie is talking to him, and about, I'm a cancer and cancers do this and stuff. Because, it's a connection with some of us that we feel like well, some of us feel. I mean, to a certain extent, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like, certain thing like traits will leave a trait. But that doesn't automatically mean because, y'all, oh, I'm a Libra. That means I do this, not balanced, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I do that as well, but that does not mean your sign means it's connection to who the hell you are and how you're going to react or what job you're going to perform or who's your best mate? And I knew I should not went with him because he was a Scorpio and a blah blah blah. Or maybe it was showing like the emphasis on how much, some people and how we're taught like the connection with say astrology and horoscopes. Okay, 'cause like I said, the title's called I'm a Virgo. And so like I said, they're both earthy, maybe, tree hugger type of people, but like I said, they're there's only so much in this hippie world. So one day, they'll like I said, they also show like the impact of like how the media and the commercials and stuff. Was looking at some of these reality shows in his new like, little home, like slash apartment, whatever in the back of his parents' house that they made for him. And he's even sometimes repeats some of the phrases like, that bitch, some girl was talking about, I'm talking to so and so Stacy. She don't know who she fucking. I'm just paraphrasing because I forgot the name, but he's repeating some of the stuff that stands out. Like, yeah, that bitch don't know what the. So he's socially awkward, but his way of like interacting, besides with his parents, is sometimes repeating what he says, or maybe even reading, or what they may go with him in the thing. As far as like go over him with like the information they give him and stuff. So anyways, one day, because it was a house. I first thought I was confused. Like, wait a minute. I thought they had a house that was on the ground in the backyard and stuff like that. There's a house, like maybe a couple houses down, where it's stable up and it's like 10 feet and stuff, whatever. Not was 10 feet, but you're like, you basically need to go stairs, some elevator or something, or to get to the house. It was on these stands and stuff. And I think the man's name is Lowell. He realizes and talks to him, and he realizes that, hey, oh, no wonder they, Tracy's and Francie's, been trying to hide and block back here, whatever. I see you. I ain't about to say anything, nothing like that. I'm about to have a barbecue or something, and I'm going to give it tamales. I mean, I know, basically your parents stuff like you were like we used to be hitting bingo burger all the time and getting bacon, steak, and cheese and stuff like that, just extra toppings and stuff. Okay, get some hot sauce on my burrito, baby. All this stuff, and he just and and a Cootie's like, huh, really? So he realized that his parents have not told the truth. They've been trying to be completely organic. I don't like to say I don't know if they're vegan or vegetarian, but they look is that type of food. I don't know because it's fast food or anything. It's poison, and I don't know also if that is connection of why his mom, besides probably giving birth to a whole, like a whole person, literally like a grown up or whatever the size that baby is, if that had any thing to do with why they're organic now because of maybe the side effects of like stuff like the bingo burgers. So, anyways, so he's thinking eating tamales, and he decided to ask his dad, like, have you never had eaten burgers or nothing like that? You hiding stuff to the side. He just checking it. But like I said, they're still claiming they never ate this particular burger. This poison and stuff. They always made sure, and they're legit as well too. So he like, oh, okay. So one day he decides they never show, but he ends up going ahead and he able to have, like sometimes when people be trying to blend in the forest and they be trying to catch deer stuff like that, like a hunter's thing, and they sit here and they got all these leaves and stuff on it, be up there hiding behind the bushes and shit. He was able to get one person he made himself, or maybe it was custom made from whatever, and he about to go out. So, you see these group, like young people, whatever, they sitting at the table, whatever, right? And the dude named Felix, he about to, go ahead, he ain't gotta do EP, whatever, right? He about to go and first, Cootie freeze, and then he moves away. And it feels like this weed must be hitting my eye or some shit. Okay. Try it again. He scoots back. And then he ends up running away. And Felix gets scared off, and he's trying to tell his friends every time, like, I seen a giant. Okay. And they, next day, there's a video of him, and I think the guy scat and the girl that's hanging out with him as well. And he's, because it's just like, I seen a giant. First, they kind of laughed at him and stuff like that. So even though what I gather is the giants are rare, they're not rare at the same time. Like they're rare, but not the point like, oh my gosh. So the next day, I think they're, like protest has some signs, whatever, and eventually, Cootie ends up talking to them. And they're like, "Oh, God, you for real?" And he's like, "Yeah." You want to see me lift up a car? And he's talking, and he was even asking about the one fee. It's like, "Oh, you work in auto shop," and he started to repeat the jingle. Things was repeated with him. Like I said, Cootie has not is hasn't been, he's been sheltered, so he's not social. He has like kind of depend on certain things to mimic being social. Okay, because he's like, oh, with the gathering and stuff, and just saying stuff like, in the skies and stuff, and so the auto parts and your connection. And he's like, I really just worked their apartment. Like I said, he knew the jingle, but that was his connection to Felix. He thought because of the cars. And like I said, he was saying a lot of philosophy and stuff and so forth. So, like I said, he gonna party, eventually he, later on is about to hang out with these people. Okay. Um, Now he ends up, I know I'm skipping over everything, okay, but like I said, do the best I can. So he ends up the first night about, ends up going with them, I think, and they hang out. And that car Felix got, that still is from a comic DC and Marvel combined. Because the fact that they were able to have him sit in the back of that vehicle, and it was able to hold up, the transmission stayed in, the muffler and everything staying in, you know, and he didn't fall, and they just had him like he kind of, he's sitting like us in the back because it's one of them old school cars with four wheel, drop top, whatever, right? So they end up, I think it's the same night with the dance, so but they, like I said, um go like for one of the places is, and even though people see him in the car, it's like, because when you step out already, he's a giant. He's a black man, so already him stand out, he's, can be considered negative or even considered less than, depending on the people who look at him less than. Okay, when you go out, you may be looked at small and shine. So people are looking at him, but not looking like, "Oh my gosh." It's just like people have heard like, once in a while there are giants. And Cootie's getting fascinated with this world that he is finally, able to see and be a part of. And he's just like, "Oh my gosh, look at these buildings and stuff." And also it seemed like these young people, are like against their protesting. They're striking the Fruitville rent strike, and they're putting posters. And of course, Cootie able to help. He tall as hell, put 6 signs in like 5 seconds and stuff. And like I said, he's asked about the bingo bird with them too. Like I said, it's one of the main chains and stuff. And I don't know if it's nationwide or at least particular area and stuff. Okay, this burger's so juicy, it's like, oh, I guess like almost like an orgasm in your mouth. And they go, and of course, you see, and I mean, this remind me, I'm heard like, they be doing circles and stuff. I don't want to be your own touch of stuff like Ghost Ride, whip and all that stuff. Doing circles, around with the cars or whatever. And they were able, and I think it was like great excellent. Phoenix League and all this. Phoenix leaned the car, and the car, like I said, was still able to be part of this, but it ends up like when they're able to ghost ride, and feels like says that famous line, if you've seen the commercial, like, y'all ain't got no giant. And he basically able to use like tricks where he's able to hold on the car, and he's basically being a part of those with the shoes. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of sparks with it, but based on what we've seen, it looked like a good time. So they even able the car skirt lean with it on the side with Feetless, but like I said, is they were part of the show and people liked it, whatever, cool as heck, and then they, leave. But I think it was the hero or something like that that came with his little robotic suit on. And like I said, I guess the hero is like supposed to be, police or policing the black because he's like saying, hold up, if you're not here without the registration, you might in your group of people, you might be doing bad activities and blah blah blah. It's like that. So the next day, whatever, of course, the his parents are concerned, but he's, about like, wait a minute, I want to be able to go out in the world, stuff like that. So the next time, the fast forward in best way possible, he ends up about to get the bean burger. Now, this is another interesting part. Now, you see one of the women at the, who's in the back of the bean burger place, bean bomb bean bingo place, burgers. And the unique thing, or maybe this could be representation about how black women are expected to be super women and not be human and expecting to perform, at this God speed. Cause she up here, you just see her hands. You thought like she was part of X-Men. She up here getting these burgers and burgers and burgers and doing all this order. So he was getting seven burgers. Didn't show he paid or not, but he's looking at her. She was like, "Your order is ready," and she shows like a shirt. She said, "I'm with I love the Trump the Trump people." Or giant whatever, and he just fascinated and he leaves out of there, okay, with the burgers. And when he tries to eat, he finally he gave his crew Felix and them skip day burgers and the other I don't recall the girl they hang out with, what was her name? The burgers. And he realized like it ain't crap up to be. He up here chewing, the burgers, and he realized like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. And they laughing at him like disgusting. Just go ahead, you up here eating on them damn Spanish pies. And that's probably why your ass don't like it. And so they decided to like, you know what, we're gonna take you to, a dance. But like, oh, I forgot to mention when he goes to Big Rock Place, people were like surprised, but they weren't looking like, oh, like that much where they were shocked, 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 shocked. So they end up going to party. And like I said, that they're, as far as now, it seems like Felix and them are in Cootie's corner. But, they're trying to get him out there where he's, like not as socially awkward. And so they even got him, he's sitting there, they got him dancing, go Cootie, go Cootie. You doing the best he can. You gotta literally lean walk with it because the club is not tall enough for his giant ass to be really up there. So but he's dancing everything and he's sitting down. Felix tried to get him to talk to a girl, and this is how awkward Cootie is when he's talking. He was like, "Yo, you look nice. You're pretty dressed. You could be in any video, like with a famous person in a video, and you'd probably be nice there." And basically, it just got became more of the girl was like, "I don't know English," even though she was already talking English, but it was awkward. He had a couple drinks. He's a little bit, tablespoon, which is probably like 4 to 5 drinks with him, and since he never had that before, he's still buzzed. But like I said, it had him end up doing dances and stuff. And here's like the connection of like saying like the black man or black woman is, like the connection with being over sexualized or sexualized, and not just even black men or women, but just like even children in general. are sexualized or not even considered human or not even considered children or being lord and liberty and I mean it could be so many layers this can be pulled from because the reason why I say that is because when he gets out the club it's two girls that the first thing when they said they want to see his peen, okay, and he accidentally, bumps into this guy, because like I said, he the only giant there, so everybody's knowing, but they drunk, and he's who's like, man, you stepping on my shoes and way. And he was like, I'm sorry, and he pats him on the head, you know, because he didn't mean to, and they feel some type of way, whatever. So him and his crew, long story short, to prove their manhood, they must attack, even though he didn't mean to. They had to prove something to the crowd. They had to prove something to themselves. Like they don't no punks and shit. So they, one of them try to fly, and it's four guys trying to attack, and they just sitting there almost looking like some ants trying to attack the giant. And because even feasting, they're like, man, this ain't gonna end well with you. And of course, he was able to fly him off like they ain't nothing, whatever, off him. And the guy again was like, man, the same one that was talking stuff that felt offended, whatever, was like, man, you don't know who you're messing with. And he accidentally was able to fling and knock him down, and they just left. And he was just like, the main one, like, you talking all that shit, whatever, you can go ahead with that with your drunk ass. So, they leave that, but like I said, the girls didn't get a chance to see his thing. But like I said, they sexualized it like, you know, giant or not, to be truthful with you, why does he have to show his thing and show it, you know, in front of everybody, even if he wanted to? But as I'm saying, it's expected where, I mean, then Uncle could also show too that black men or black can also be sexualized and sexual because ain't that sexual harassment? That was given harassment, wasn't it? That's what it was. Okay. Um, So, kind of like the scene towards the end, they got him all on the news and stuff. Like he's John, whatever, and he had his spotty up here burgers and like dancing and stuff. Basically, put him on the news as if he's some type of monster. Even though it turns out they said it's self defense. So this person who was almost about to live himself or staging it and has his power, whatever. Now he's starting to stare at him like, oh, he's a problem and he is on my list. Whoever, is the quote quote hero. Okay. Super Saiyan white man. Okay, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying that I'm going by exact what it said. Whatever, right? So his family ends up talking to him, after seeing this. I think I might have mixed this up. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But they do have a talking, I think the second or first night where he's with his friends about this is why we kept you alone and they showed him this notebook. And he's like, okay, I may be a giant or whatever, but I should be okay. And these articles kind of remind you of, say, of like what has happened, for example, even just black folks alone mostly. It was one Russian giant, but you know how one giant, slave was beat, was, you know, to unaliving. This part, like for example, remind me of Center Bantlin or Hot Not Venus, where after she passed away, her body parts were put in jars for several years until recently, which was finally buried to in the country that she was taken away from, and look up the history with her, and because they had one giant, and even show like drawings, well, like comparable drawings, but showing like how he had his sexual organ penis in a jar as well, and basically like how black men are, or black people, period, in some cases are looked up some as human, being, with no anesthesia and having surgery shit being on them. It, like I said, it's for layers. There's a lot of layers. Cootie had did start crying, but he's basically like, he should be able to explore the world, be able to hang out and whatever. And okay, just because these giants, this stuff happened to other giants, I'm not related to them or anything like that. And that, Uncle, I'm gonna call Uncle S. Professor TC. I know I'm mispronouncing his name. Was like, you got to be careful because once people, some people gonna be out there trying to use you up until they use you more, and then trying to get rid of your ass when you serve no more purpose. So, like I said, it definitely when they were showing the article, both, like I said, with the giant and stuff and being experimented on, or they got rid of the giants or whatever and destroyed the giants basically. Like I said, it could be shown as several examples about what has happened to, say, black people or other people. Like I said, it could be layers based on race, class, um, ethnic back, and all the above. And like I said, once this news article at the same time is coming about this giant, whatever they call him, Sasquatch, whatever. The parents is talking to Uncle, the talking is like, we got to be ready now. And they talking. He's like, oh, we thought we knew this was gonna happen about him being put in his position, and they knocked, like, trying to give y'all some sound effects. And he tap tap tap, hit the corner twice on the wall, and you see this space age guns or whatever the heck it was, y'all, in the thing, and then the credits go. So this is gonna be interesting, y'all, because like I said, it is hard to interpret something like this, the cyber adventures. But that's what I forgot, y'all. If y'all have time and you, like I said, watch this Amazon Prime, is I think another limited series. I do tend to do my best of trying to do a review, a recap, because it is an interesting show, but try my best to, like I said, go by what I go by. But because it's such an interesting and like kind of in a surreal show, that is definitely worth watching. And you can watch, listen, and like I said, if you like what you hear, well, I know you like the pictures right now because I still ain't showing my face. You watch the video, go ahead, like and subscribe, and you listen to the podcast. For don't forget to follow. Continue, and I will see y'all next video. Hugs and loves, y'all, and y'all have a good weekend and so forth, and have a good day, good night, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.